Donald Trump sees the world a little differently than us. First of all, he doesn't know the first thing about service. He doesn't have time for it because he's too busy serving himself. Again and again and again, Trump weakens our economy to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws, he sows chaos and division, and that's to say nothing of his record as president. He froze in the face of the COVID crisis. He drove our economy into the ground, and make no mistake, violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed.
I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty funny.
You know,
that was a bar.
Some of us in here are old enough to remember. I see you down there. I see those old white guys. Some of us are old enough to remember when it was Republicans who were talking about freedom. It turns out now what they meant was the government should be free to invade your doctor's office. In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choice for ourselves, there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business. These guys are after my heart chanting, mind your own damn business. That feels good, so thank you. Look, that includes IVF, and this gets personal for me and my family. When my wife and I decided to have children, we spent years going through infertility treatments. And I remember praying every night for a call for good news. The pit in my stomach when the phone rang, and the agony when we heard that the treatments hadn't worked. So it wasn't by chance that when we welcomed our daughter into the world, we named her Hope. When Vice President and I talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make your own healthcare decisions. And for our children to be free to go to school without worrying they'll be shot dead in their classrooms. By the way, as you heard, I was one of the best shots in Congress, but in Minnesota, we believe in the Second Amendment, but we also believe in common sense gun violence laws. Vice President Harris' idea of freedom is a ticket for education to be that ticket to the middle class, not crippling debt. Air that's clean, water that's pure, communities that are safe. A place where we settle our political differences not through violence, but with our votes. And that's what this election's about. What direction will this country go in? He's not going back. Well, Donald Trump would damn sure take us backwards. Let's be clear about that.
Good speech.
You know what? I don't understand. I thought we learned with Sarah Palin that vice presidents don't win elections. It is what it is. Y'all could do that all you want, but it's just not gonna win. I heard him say some things like, your healthcare rights, but these were the same cats who made you. It was a mandate, wasn't it? A mandate that you would literally lose your livelihood, depending on what profession you are, which they try to make it most, if you did not take an experimental such and such. It was a mandate. I didn't feel like I had a right at that point when they are trying to force you to take something that they have no data on. That's not healthcare rights to me. That sounds very different than that. I'm very curious to what he means when he says common sense gun laws. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? These dudes don't have any common sense when it comes to gun laws because they couldn't tell you what a gun is. Most of these fools, if you ask them what AR-15 means, they're going to say, oh, it stands for assault rifle. No, dude, it's Armalite before Colt bought it. These dudes don't know anything. They couldn't tell you the velocity. They couldn't tell you what is chambered in. Or there's nothing they can tell you. These dudes don't even know anything about weapons to be writing gun laws, and that's the problem, that they don't consult with experts before they make stupid laws that are affecting everyone. That's a big problem. Most of these fools don't know about energy. They don't know how to tell you that there's companies working on hydrogen ice, and the hydrogen would be the best because it's the most abundant element on the planet. And there is no real research and development. Companies are having to do it independently because the government won't fund it. And you talking about batteries? Why would you do batteries when you talking about China? China has a stranglehold on lithium-ion batteries, and slave labor in Africa is how they're made. What we doing? What we doing? Like
they don't want to. They don't want to.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they don't want to go into the hydrogen because they don't know how to have a stranglehold on that. They can't really, you know what I mean? You can just, that's readily available. It's an abundance. Whereas right now, I work in the industrial industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not wanting people to change over to electric because obviously our infrastructure is set up for what? Industry, gas, oil, and so on, right? If they take that away, that's a whole lot of people losing their business and losing their eons of prosperity. So now electric, let's say if they want to buy into electric, that's still something that they can readily control. Now, if we go with the hydrogen, they can't do that. That's why they want to keep it out. Wasn't it a brother that they actually that mysteriously died that had learned, he had configured his car to run off of hydrogen, off of water? What happens? That's pretty much onboard electrolysis. So that's different. Whereas you don't even need a plant to produce it. So yeah, when you start coming up with great ideas like that, they shelf it, they buy it out, or delete you, and the idea is gone. That's just what happens, and that's not a conspiracy theory because there's too many cases where you saw people come up with awesome plans for energy and then they disappear with the idea. Because it's too much money. You shortstopping their bread is pretty much what it all boils down to. When you understand how these politicians get where they got, they're all backed by somebody with big dough. That's all it is. And you just got to pick which side you mess with. But they all doing the same damn thing.
So, this is some of the common sense gun laws that they are proposing. To require firearm dealers to fulfill minimum security standards, require the ATF to inspect dealers every 3 years and provide for more staffing to the ATF. To prohibit the possession of any firearm that is undetectable by airport level detection devices. To limit ammunition magazines to no more than 10 rounds and prohibit their future production for civilian use. To require background checks on every gun sale or transfer. To require a 3-day waiting period before a person may receive a gun after making a purchase. To allow for the injury or death of a minor resulting from unsafe storage of a firearm to be made a crime and punishable with prison time. To ban the sale, transfer, manufacture, and importation of military-style assault weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines. to build safer, thriving communities and save lives by investing in effective community-based violence reduction initiatives, to direct consumer product safety commissions to establish firearm storage safety standards, to encourage states to enact extreme risk laws to support law enforcement and protect families, to ensure dangerous individuals are prohibited from purchasing or owning firearms, to authorize the Center for Disease Control and Prevention to conduct critical life-saving gun violence research, to establish basic business practices and certification requirements for gun shop owners and employees, to establish an interagency advisor council that would gather and distribute resources for victims of gun violence.
Where did you get that information from?
Basically, it was from Joseph Morrell, U.S. Congressman, and he had listed some of the common sense gun laws that they're trying to sponsor.
You know what's crazy? Everything that you just listed is already in place.
Yeah,
I know it is.
In
Here.
California, especially. And they can't have
I
high
live in
capacity magazines. So Sweeney, this the issue with like Shannon said, everything that was listed is pretty much already in place that make common sense gun laws. But they did a ban on what a brace. They just banned braces, and then they just
pistol braces were banned.
The brace literally did nothing to make the gun do anything but shoot more accurately. What they look at as gun laws is really things that make a gun look scary. It has nothing to really do with how effective the gun is. Bump stocks. What would you say?
I take it that y'all are not against any of the things that I just listed.
No,
I'm against the things.
I'm against the bureaucracies. You talking about the CDC? Because they include things when they talk about mass shootings and they talk about children dying, they go up to the age of 20, which is misleading. When you talk about the ATF, who constantly changes rules and tries to re-articulate what assault rifles and everything means, it's extremely problematic when you start to involve the bureaucracies.
I don't think there's any problem with people committing studies to find out what's. I mean, I would say that we should argue that the study should be more comprehensive. So if you have a problem with like, okay, this doesn't sound like the right people in the room to conduct that study, that's fair criticism. But to say that there shouldn't be a study is, I wouldn't necessarily.
Well,
agree
it shouldn't be by a bureaucracy that's has appointees from a leftist agenda. That's the problem that I'm having with that. And what I'm saying? They appoint people that are. That's how it goes. That's what they've been doing. That's what
how you gonna say that about the CDC? It's the Center for Disease Control.
What he's talking about is that during the
laughing, Sweeney, but you're not understanding.
Their influence, though.
We can explain it to you.
Like they
are.
Wasn't the CDC one of the didn't they back the vaccine?
Yeah, but I'm not finding. What's the problem with that?
He talking about his political appointments. So if you
have
it's
influence,
who would y'all say should conduct the study? Because I still like. Do y'all disagree that there should be studies conducted regarding gun violence and how to prevent it?
But so the thing is that there are studies on it. So I don't think that's not the issue. The issue, in my opinion, is that they make it difficult for law-abiding citizens to go about to protect themselves. And they create all of these laws for people, essentially for criminals that don't follow the law. So
which one of those laws make it difficult for you to buy a gun?
So in Illinois, I want to say Illinois is one of maybe 3 or 4 states that you have to have a FOID card in order to even purchase a firearm, and then you also have to be licensed to carry it. Now,
you said what kind of card?
It's called the FOID, Firearm Owner's Identification.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
So, in my opinion, I think that makes it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to be able to protect themselves. Once I was able to, once I got my record expunged and sealed, it took a year for them to send me my FOID card.
Why would that be a problem?
I can tell you what
life was in danger for that year.
Look, so I can tell you
Hold on, wait. But y'all have to understand, he was a convicted felon at one point.
Let me finish. So there's a story that you can look up. There was a young lady that had broke up
in New Jersey.
There was a young lady that broke up with a guy, and this guy told her, "I'm gonna unalive you." She went to the police, got a restraining order against him, and she went and applied for a gun card,
a purchase ID card for New Jersey.
Right. The guy ended up unaliving her while she's waiting for the approval on it. So it puts people that actually need it in a position to where they can't defend themselves against a person that's not going and abiding by the law.